them, and you can bake on them also. So it's basically a pot that you can cook food in, and you can also bake in it. So it's a Dutch oven. En esta olla se puede cocinar y también se puede hornear. Se puede hornear pan, un pastel, puede hornear lo que usted quiera. So today, on the menu, we have, here we have eggplant.
Eggplant
From the garden, of course. Everything from the garden. Potatoes, onions,
rosemary,
garlic from the garden. Same thing here, it's the same thing. And then here we have squash, garlic, onions, everything from the garden. So you can see that we have different sizes of pots. These pots, these lechones come in different sizes. This is number 12, that was number 12, this is number 14, number 14. Okay? So
where do you get these recipes?
There's a place, what's the place called Rick, over there? Lodge.
Lodge is in the,
Walmart has it.
yeah, you can get them at Walmart.
We go to a place that sells specifically on Lodge, and we buy seconds. These are seconds.
These are seconds.
These are seconds, so they're cheaper from them.
See?
These are like $40 a piece instead of $100.
You can get them at Cracker Barrel. I work for Cracker Barrel and we sell that brand.
It's very expensive.
You can go to,
How much?
It's not like
Tell me.
Okay, so
you
you
can go,
it
you can go
depends.
to
Like you get like
Lodge.
a set, for like $90.
You can get a Lodge.
It just depends which one.
You can get a Lodge 14-inch. First grade is a little over $100 for just that with a lid. If you go to Lodge directly, you can get the pot for 40 and the lids are 10 seconds. When they
So
have.
Lodge is in this area?
They're in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and then they have an outlet store in Sevierville.
And where?
Sevierville.
They're made in South Pittsburgh.
Okay, so we're gonna cook all this food with this charcoal only. And that kind of doesn't make sense, right? It looks like
It makes sense
weird,
to me.
right?
That's how I was raised.
okay, but usually you would use a bunch of wood, but we're just gonna cook all this food
wood
with
too.
that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some math here, and I'll show you how many of those briquettes. Those are called briquettes that come like this. You can actually make your own if you buy your wood too. You have to count. You have to use hardwood. We're gonna count how many big briquettes we need for each pot, for each meal to cook. Now remember, we have potatoes in this, right? We have eggplant there, and then we have what here? Squash.
Squash.
So squash and that cooks faster, right? This and this needs more fire, right? More heat. Okay, so we're gonna put these two in the bottom, and then we're gonna stack these on top. So this was number 14. So we're gonna say 14 times 2. How much is that?
28.
Good. 28. So we need 28 briquettes for that.
The briquettes are actually made, and I just learned this a few months ago. They actually make those, each one of those is a certain amount of BTU.
25 degrees.
25
Each
degrees.
briquette is going to add 25 degrees to your oven.
So if you want
Okay.
350,
So we're going to use 28 for this pot, 28 briquettes for this pot. But because I'm going to stack this one on top of that to cook, I'm not going to say I need 24 for this. I'm only going to use 12 because the ones that I'm going to put on top here is going to give heat at the bottom, and I'm only going to stack the 12 on top of this one.
so you have to
Okay?
put that.
So let's start. We're going to put the first one right here. So we're going to say 28, and we're going to divide that by 3. What's a third of 28?
9.
9. Okay, so we're gonna put 9 on top, and the other one's in the bottom. So that'll be how many in the bottom?
No.
Like 14. How many do we have? Are you guys counting?
No.
3, 6, 9, 12. 13, 14. So we're gonna put that pot on top. And then I'm gonna put how many on top?
Can you say 7?
That's gonna give 27.
I on top 5.
No.
Maybe it was 9. Do you have to spread it or just leave it?
That's 7.
Now for your Yeah, you're,
Let's see. How many do we have in the bottom?
14.
14.
So you need 14 on top,
20,
right?
22, we have 24.
okay, plus you're gonna add a 14 inch.
And then put that one on top.
You want 14 on the next 14.
So that's
Or are you
No,
doing
I'm
two
gonna stack the
separate
small one on
stacks?
top.
Oh, okay. Because
that's
you can
11.
stack them higher.
That's 11.
Put it on top.
I won't get that much.
It's only 11.
No, that's 12.
And then I'm gonna stack. Only stack some deals.
You can double these up and stack them 3, 4 high. if you need to.
Okay. Here we have it. And don't ever let them get rusty like this one. Okay?
What do you have to put oil on it?
Yes, you cure them, you wash it, you dry it, and you put oil and you put it away.
So that's 12.
This one was outside, so.
Oh, okay.
Is it centered? Okay, so we have right there, we have 40. Well, let's do the other.
So it's 14 below and 14 on top and then 12.
Okay?
I think.
You wouldn't think that would cook it.
No.
And if you want to, if you're making, example, a cake, you're baking a cake. You don't want to put your cake in the bottom. Burn. You want to put it in the top.
Guys, wait for me!
If you're making like a bread or a cake, how many put in the 14? How are you making those big ones? Right, Mama?
Then I'm going to put the other 14. Remember, it was 28, right? I'm going to put it on top.
So then if you're using wood, you just have to average, I guess.
Yes, you can have the pieces of coal.
Just average wood. I think each one of these is how much
I've
wood
never
they
actually
25 degrees
burn
per
anything up.
briquette.
I used to, even before I did this, I used to just set mine in the fire and take a shovel and throw some hot coal up on top of it, make some gorgeous pounds of cornbread and hot potato beans.
You say each one of these is how many
25 degrees.
Each one of them's 25 degrees.
You're trying to add a 25 degree to your oven.
So if you want a 350 degree oven, you
25 divided by that. I mean, about 12.
And then this, put it on top.
250 divided by 25. What is it? What, 7?
So those coals will continue to burn.
yeah, they're gonna be cooking this thing for the next 40 minutes or so.
Even the raw.
You'll see some steam coming out of here in a little while. We had a little issue with this charcoal is old.
You
We
just
don't-
light them.
We use it for classes and it's left over and it's kind of humid down there where
Once
it
they
was.
start
I had to
looking like
bring my
that,
torch
they're
up
rid
here.
of it. Yes.
So they're black.
Please
Yes,
let
this
it be
part
hot
is
enough.
loaded up.
I hope we don't have, I'd actually throw a couple of extra deer
Yes, I will.
just for the
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
possibility
10,
how hard it was to ignite.
12. Okay. So I have 28 briquettes right here. I have 14 here, 14 here, and I have 12 up here. But because these pots are almost full of potatoes, I have some extra, and I'm going to just put them in the bottom. Okay, now if this was a cake or something like squash, I will not put it in there. But because it's potatoes, and it's a lot, we're going to just add it. 25 degrees more, you will add. So, and it's going to take 1 hour. It's going to take 1 hour to cook. So, and you can stack another one if you want, but there's a smaller one also. Now, if you notice, these Dutch ovens have little feet, right? Now, there's some that do not have the legs on it. So the one ones that do not have the legs, you can use them on a wood cooked stove or on any stove you can use.
If it doesn't have the legs, you could use.
You can't stack them.
You can't stack. Well, you can't even put the charcoal under it. You have to have something to raise it because you have to put the charcoal on it. Any other questions? So far.
So the next size would be a, what, 9?
It's a minute 10.
10. So then how many would you put on top of that?
I would only stack one more.
Oh, so you only go 3 high?
That's the highest that I would use.
But then on top of the 10, how many briquettes would you put on top?
10 and 10 is 20. Divided by 3, it would be like 7. I'll just put 7. 7
That's
would be
how you
top.
do it. Okay.
If you can find old cast iron, it's just as good. In fact, some of the old Wagner, Griswold, I wouldn't go spend a fortune on it. Yeah, Lodge is a good product. Lodge is going to make it a premium. It's called, I think it's called Black Lock. I think Black Lock is the name of it. There's some other manufacturers that you can go online and purchase. They're very expensive. Now, when you go to look at the Wagners and the Griswold and stuff back there in the war era, World War II, the lids are really expensive and they're very, very rare because they would go to door for the iron drive during World War II, World War I, and they would go around and they would ask for scrap metal. And they would ask for the iron pots and pans they needed iron. And the women wouldn't give up their pans, but they'd say, here's a lid. You know, we'll support that, we'll give you the lid. So the lids became really wherever you looked at the pots and pans.
Okay, so how is this useful? How is this cooking this way would be useful for you? For example, let's say you live in Florida, hurricane comes through, and you have no power. You have no gas, you have no power, but you have charcoal in your house, and you have a Dutch oven. You can cook a meal, and you're not going to go hungry.
This is called a Dutch oven.
This is a Dutch oven.
So you can stir the charcoal in like a container?
In a metal container, yeah?
You store the charcoal in
Yeah, you could even store this in a tight, I would, if you're gonna buy it and keep it fresh, put it in a plastic bucket with a tight lid.
Okay.
Because we had the issue of sitting in there, it's really humid, and it's over a year old, and it didn't want to burn well. But, I mean, you can still make it burn. And the other option is get the lighter fluid. It's a little messy, you can use the lighter fluid and the cheaper charcoal that doesn't have fuel in it. You can do that and it stays.
She has a question. She asked if we can make bread in it. Yes, you can bake bread in it. If you're going to bake a cake, you don't want to pour the cake directly in the pot. What you can do is you can get marbles or something to put in the bottom of that Dutch oven. Then you put your cake in a round pan on top of that. And then you cook it. Now, you cannot open.
I became bourgeois.
Listen up. You cannot open this during the process of while you're cooking, because every time you open it, you're going to lose what? Heat. And then instead of taking 1 hour to cook, it's going to take probably double. So you do not open it. But like in 45 minutes, if you're sitting there, you're going to start smelling food. And then you're going to get hungry.
So anything you cook would take a minimum of 45 minutes, max an hour?
It depends on, well, this one takes about an hour because it's a cake.
And how much?
Okay, but if you're just cooking squash and that, about 45 minutes.
So that's the range between.
That's the range, 45 minutes to an hour. Cake cooks really fast. Depends on the amount you're making. Yeah, we don't recommend to make huge loaves. If you make small buns or whatever, bread, it cooks really fast.
And these pots are plumb full. So.
It works just like an oven in your house. Each one of these is 25 degrees. So you're going to count how many briquettes you have. If you have 10, how many would you have? How many degrees would you have? 250 degrees. So it works just like your oven. So if you want a 400-degree oven, then you just keep counting. But you have to count before you put food, before you light it, yes. You have to have them ready because you know how many you need and they're ready. Because you can't stop this and then try to light 6 more because you don't have enough, right? Each one of these is 25 degrees. So it's just like turning the oven on. Okay, I'm baking bread at 350 for an hour. Okay, I need some eggs. And remember to divide that by 3. Okay, I'm a third. A third is going to go, I'm sorry, a third is going to go on top. I think I said it wrong with the first one. On top, and the rest is going to go on the bottom.
And if you're having extremely windy conditions, it can affect you a little. It does not drastically.
Preguntando si usan leña. ¿Cómo sería?
If you have 2 loaves of bread, you can put one in one pan and one in the other and just stack them.
Yes, and depends, yeah, and it depends on the size of your pot too, or your oven.
Well, my question about the bread.
If we would have stacked, I'm sorry, if we would have stacked the 2 big ones, one on top of the other, how many briquettes would we have needed? This is a 14-inch pot, so we would have needed 28 plus 28 for that one. Okay, but because I'm already using from the 20, I'm already using the one for the first pot. I would use 28 plus a third of the other 28. So that would be 9 for the top of that. So that depends on the size of your pot.
Because in between the heat's a lot more intense, so you don't have to go 50%.
We're talking about bread. Are you going to put the bread in the pot or you put it in the pan and put the pan
If
in
it's
the
okay,
bread
you
pan?
put it in a bread pan.
Bread, and
And
then set
you
it in
don't put
there.
it directly on the pot.
Okay.
You have to put something to raise it.
Okay.
Marbles or something like that. I don't know, something that.
What about bread though?
Bread, I would put it directly on the pot. It's bread. Yes. Now the question back there is, if you don't have briquettes, you only have wood. Okay, so the same thing. You have to burn your wood, you break your charcoal. You have to go really hot, charcoal, and then you count each piece. Count each piece. Now remember, this is very compressed, so it keeps the heat. It looks small and it gives more heat than your other one. Than if you burn it, right? So you have to use like bigger pieces than that.
So if you were to use the wood, and then you would put the briquettes on top of the wood to warm?
No.
Okay, you just
This
use
is
the
in
wood.
case that you don't have briquettes, you can use wood.
So about what temperature would you want the wood to get?
The same. The same. But your pieces of coal that you're gonna use, they're gonna be bigger than this.
Yeah, but you know, like you have the temperature gauge. Do you know like a general temperature of how hot you would want the wood before you know it's good to put?
You just want hot coals, hot.
Just hot
Wood
wood.
is
Already consumed, but just red hot coals to where they're turning frosty like this.
No, not the coal, but the wood.
That's what I'm saying, red hot coals.
Okay.
To where they're turning frosted, looking like this, the gray looking. And then they're still, break them apart, they're still kind of black charcoal looking inside, but they're hot, red hot.
Okay.
You want completely consumed wood just as soon as it's finished burning. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
a little more consumed than that. Yeah,
smaller
that'd
than
be too
that.
big. You want
That'd be
smaller
too
than
big.
that.
Smaller than that.
And you'd use a shovel to break
That would
it
be
up.
like 2 pieces. Okay, let's go back to the class and then while the food cooks.